All right, so waiting for my son, and I thought I would, while I was waiting, I'm under a maple tree, and I got out and picked up some leaves. I have been on this leaf kick this year. As a hobby, I am learning to draw and paint, and I've just been practicing on leaves. And so this fall, since we live in the woods, I started picking up all of these leaves, but we don't have a maple in our woods, which at least right near our home, which I'm surprised because there's just so many trees, but not a single leaf. There's a lot of oaks. But I'm sitting here under a maple tree and it's turning colors, and these leaves are beautiful. So I'm sure I probably embarrassed my son if he noticed, because I'm right here in front of the dorm, and here's his mom, sans makeup and hair, and I'm out there in the rain picking up leaves off of the ground. So hopefully they're all still asleep or something. And but that's just how I learn. It's how I learned how to do a magazine. It's how I learned to do anything. Is I just study and study and study, and I try to replicate it as best I can. Like, I don't know how to draw, but I'm learning. I'm going to keep practicing. And so I'm making these little book tags. Maybe I don't want to do any editing on these videos, but I don't know, maybe in my next video I'll show you, when I'm in the studio, I'll show you my book tags. And so they're not pretty or anything like that, but they're fun. And I know with time I'll get better and better. Look, I found this 3-pointed maple instead of the 5. But I've been so fascinated with all the different shapes. Even in the oak leaves, the different shapes of the leaves are so amazing. And it's just so God is so creative. And I've just been blown away and just enjoying taking delight in these little things. It's like when you get older, like my son being at college, I'm kind of jealous. Because when you're in college in your 20s, late teens and 20s, you don't appreciate what you have in front of you. You really don't. You're like, I just want to get through this. I want to have fun and make friends. And, we're out of home from mom and dad. Let's kick it up. And you don't realize what's in front of you. And like now, I wish I could go back and take a lot of these courses, because to me, I have a much different perspective on life. And those courses now are interesting to me. I'm like, I want to learn this because I've just spent the last 20 to 30 years making a mess of my life. And now I'm like, I have a much deeper appreciation for understanding and knowledge and in nature. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned, and that's why my very first magazine edition was for the beauty of the earth. And by the way, I'm not shameless. I will shamelessly plug my products. I used to not do that. I used to be embarrassed by it, but not anymore. All of my magazine editions are available for purchase. They are not seasonal, and they are evergreen content. It's like a book. I call my magazine a bookazine because it reads like a book, because it's about a specific topic and it has a flow, but it looks like a magazine. It's really beautiful. And I'm not to toot my own horn, but other people on a regular basis tell me that they are shocked at how nice the magazine is. In fact, just this week, somebody, a friend of mine, showed the magazine to their friend who has a degree in design, graphic design. And he told him, when he looked at the magazine, he said, "This is excellent." So, and I have no degree. And so, thank you. I appreciate that. I receive that compliment. I give glory to God, because He is the one, and I'll tell that story sometime, who instructs me every single day. But anyway, The reason my first edition was for the beauty of the earth is because I wanted to reawaken to what was around me, where I was too busy just surviving and raising my son and homeschooling and all of that. I was too busy to notice anything. And before that, I was too young to care, because then I was like, what am I going to do with my life? Who am I going to marry? And I just didn't notice. And so now that my son went off to college, as I mentioned in my last video, it's like I'm like, the world looks different now. I want to rediscover it. So that's why I'm picking up leaves. That's why I walk slowly. That's why I look at how blue the sky is. That's why I look at the trunk on the trees. And that's why I'm falling in love with poetry again. I'm not necessarily a good poet, but I would love to learn. I've practiced a few times. Doesn't mean I'm any good. But I am learning by observing. And honestly, if they would teach that at college instead of just read the book, do what we tell you to do, give us the answers we want to hear, and instead teach them life skills and teach them how to learn by observing. I'm thinking of that little book by Austin Kleon called Steal Like an Artist. I mean, you learn by observing. There's so much to learn just in nature itself. You could learn so much about design and color and life. The Celts, the early Celts, and I need to wrap this up, and so I'll talk about this more in the next one. The early Celtic saints said God gave us two resources to know him. One is his word, and the other was nature. And I agree with that 100%. So I will be the silly mom who embarrasses her college son by picking up leaves on a rainy day in front of his dorm, because I love it. It's beautiful. I admire this deeply. And I can't wait to go back to my studio and practice drawing leaves, and maybe even use this in some sort of craft. All right, until tomorrow.